to order. First piece of business is approval of the minutes. I guess probably first I need to back up and have Tom Day call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Majority Leader Alley. Speaker Pro Tempore Carpenter. Majority Leader Croft.
Here.
Speaker Hawkins.
Here.
President Masterson.
Here.
Minority Leader Miller.
Here.
Minority Leader Sykes. Vice President Wilborn.
So we have all but Vice President Wilborn in attendance. Thank you, Mr. Day. So the first order of business is adoption of the minutes. Are there any questions on the minutes? And if not, is there a motion to approve the minutes? So moved by Senator Alley, seconded by Representative Carpenter. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? No. The ayes have it. Motion passes. So the purpose of today's LCC meeting is to have to consider the proposals that have been made. Everybody hopefully has had a chance to see the demos of the bill tracking software. There were 5 demos sent out. I know there are some folks that have not seen them. Some of us have. I actually sat down and did them all in one day. What a joyful thing it was. Sunday, I took my whole day and did nothing but demos. And we certainly have some questions. There's really, when you look at the demos, in my opinion, there's really only 2 that are viable, that really kind of hit most everything. That is CanFocus and Quorum. The rest have some of the stuff that we were looking for, but I would say those other 3 have very little. They're not near as robust as those 2 being CanFocus and Quorum. So with that, I want to open it up for discussion because quite frankly, I think we have a lot of questions. And Tom, you might want to be available to answer some of those questions since you certainly had an opportunity to look at all of them as well because you were in the room doing the recording of them. So is there discussion? So I'll call first on Representative Carpenter.
Thank you, Speaker Hawkins. So as I was also, fortunately, I did it in half the time you did, because there's a 2 times X button on the videos, and so I listened to them at a little bit double speed, so that was very helpful. But I would agree, CanFocus, had a lot to offer, so does Quorum. As I was listening to the presentations, it caused questions, and so I sent some questions to Mike O'Neill to ask to CanFocus, and they responded to me this morning, and I just got done reading through a lot of their responses to that. But as I was doing my research, they indicated that they had a Tier 1 data center where they stored the data, and during the demo, there was another vendor that was talking about doing basically translation services. And having that filter into CanFocus. And so they have one Tier 1 facility that's based in Oregon within the U.S., obviously, and then another one that was based in Arizona. But as I was researching Tier 1 facilities, it seemed like in most cases, Tier 1 facilities are not necessarily up to SOC 2 standards, not up to the NIST standards that we've been trying to push towards in recent years here in the state of Kansas. They indicated that this data center, Tier 1 data center, does meet those requirements. So I'd want to do a little bit more research about that data center itself and just how secure that data center is, because I want to make sure that whatever we are putting into whatever tool we're using it is secure, especially if our revisers or our researchers are using this tool. And if they're putting anything confidential into it, we need to make sure that it is secured information that is not available, or at least more difficult to get a hold of for people who are trying to be nefarious. I also reached out to our IT department this morning, and by far and away, they said that Quorum has the most security out of all the demos, out of everybody that presented to us. They are by far and away the most secure, and so I did feel comfortable in that fact. But I would want to, I think, do a little bit more research into the different vendors of CanFocus. How are they layering their security amongst those different vendors upstream to where they're not potentially getting infiltrated at any other point in their systems? And so, for me, I would like probably a little bit more information before I make a decision on what bill tracking software we should move forward with.
Could I ask you a quick question? Because Speaker Pro Tem is really my IT guy. I'm certainly not up on all the IT stuff, so I rely on him a lot. When you're talking about security for these, you're not necessarily worried about the data security. You're worried about the ability for somebody to hack into, maybe drop in some type of a virus or something that could be downloaded. Is that what you're worried about? Or could you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Well, I think from my standpoint, whatever you're putting into the system, as a lot of these people who had these demos were talking about, the ownership of the data that you're putting into it is basically our data. It's our office's data. It's personal data to our offices. They're not going to give it to third parties, and a lot of them said that. And so what I want to ensure happens if let's say I'm making notes or I'm talking and I'm giving the reasons why I'm for or against a bill within the software program, I want to make sure that whatever I'm writing in there is secure and that somebody can't just come in and start looking at all the notes that I'm putting in there. But not just me, but if our revisers and researchers are putting anything confidential, because if I go to them and ask for a bill and you and I are working on the same bill, we don't know that. But if I don't know what all is being put into these systems is what I'm saying. So I think what I would like to also do is have it to where we delay this vote and allow for both research and revisers, if I can request this of them. I sent them an email, but unfortunately it was last minute. It was yesterday that I sent this email to them, which is unfair to them, on what kind of tool would you guys like to see in your offices. And so I think a little bit more buy-in from them, and that'd be helpful for me in making this decision, because I want to make sure, again, it's secure, not only from my point, but also from the people who are supposed to maintain confidentiality.
Senator Sykes?
Thank you. Just a question, because I probably use CanFocus a little differently. I've used it kind of as an outside resource. So what specifically are you concerned about the privacy? Because I will tag and watch bills and do that, but it's different from what the revisers are using for writing the legislation. So my question, what is that security piece that you're really, because I feel like this is all public information and it's for the public.
Representative Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But it's not. So on the House side, I'm gonna use her as an example. Representative Landwehr. I mean, I would see her pounding away over on her keyboard with CanFocus up and making notes within CanFocus as to why she might support or oppose a bill within CanFocus itself. And so when the bills would come up, she would have CanFocus up, and as we're voting on them, she would see her notes and the reason why she's voting for something or not voting for something. And so what I want to make sure is that if something is being held at a tier 1 data center, that it is up to snuff and where it should be in order to protect information that whoever's putting into it, whether it's legislators or revisers or researchers. And just, again, based on my preliminary research, tier 4 seem to be the ones that are more secured, and tier 1 seem to be less secured. So I just want to make sure that the one that CanFocus is using I want to do more research on that facility.
Go ahead.
And thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I guess my question is, and maybe I should do a better job of talking to my caucus to see how they used it, because to my knowledge, we have not used that, and so that wasn't on my radar. So thank you for bringing that up. But I wonder how much of a issue. I mean, we do want to make sure that our information is private, but we also want to know how people are utilizing it. So thank you.
Well, I think at least one of those, and I can't remember, I did them all in one day, but I know at least one of them has the ability to share their notes with other select people. They can actually select who can see that note. So you could have your team of people in your office that could all see your notes, and you could say, I just want them to see my notes and nobody else. And so I think that has something to do with the security he's talking about too. Senator Alley?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the question that you just raised, that's something that we have to do. If I'm writing notes on this bill, if I want to share it, I have to do an action to do that. It's not somebody else can go look at my notes without my permission. Is that correct?
Representative Carpenter.
I'm talking about nefarious actors and hackers coming into to behind the scenes, not stuff that you are voluntarily sharing, but those that have nefarious purposes that are working to try to get at your information that you might not want to share with them.
Further questions or discussion? So one of the things I want to certainly bring up was in the demos, and it was towards the end of CanFocus's demo. I was waiting all the way along to hear about the 50-state tracking, and the very last 2 minutes, it was basically shared with us that they were not going to do that. That if we wanted to contract with somebody else, we could. They could link to that or put a link on their system to that, but they were not going to do the 50-state bill search or tracking. And that is one of the items that we certainly wanted, or at least I certainly wanted, and that was not available. Today, we're not going to have a vote on this. We're going to put this off probably until the first LCC meeting in 2025, which will probably be in April, because we do not have LCC during session. So once session starts, we're not going to have any LCC. So we're going to give everybody the opportunity, or at least I really don't think the other three can ever come up to what we want, but certainly CanFocus and Quorum can. And I would suggest that in this time, we figure out how you can bring that in, because we want it. And you're going to change your price. We expect that. There's got to be a price for it. But I do suggest that that be brought into your system. I'm talking to CanFocus. We don't have Quorum here. We have CanFocus here because we want that. And we're going to give you plenty of time to get that. If we have a meeting shortly after session is over, so our plan is to be done on April 12th. Hopefully we make that. There's still 2.5 months then to consummate a contract and get it going in the new system, in the new year starting June 30th or July 1st. So I do want to see that, and I want to know what the price is because I don't expect you to do it for free. Does anybody have any questions? Because we do have our CanFocus folks here. If you had the opportunity to see the demo, there's a new piece that they are bringing to bear, and it's Scribed Live. Has anybody seen that? No? Kevin, would you mind coming forward and talking about Scribed Live? Because I think it's something that's rather unique that you're bringing in, and it actually was started in Missouri by a company much like CanFocus in Missouri. and they're going to partner with CanFocus to bring Scribe Live to Kansas. Kevin?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. It was created by GovWatch, which is the legislative tracking service in Missouri, which was originally, GovWatch was originally created by the Chamber in Missouri, and now it's privately owned by another company. And they've created Scribe Live, which is a transcription service. So it transcribes everything in floor sessions and committee sessions. It can also do commissions and boards and that sort of thing. It is what makes it unique from other transcription services. It's real time. And it allows you to, just as in CanFocus, you can choose terms that you want to track and will alert you when bills are introduced that have your term. Same with Scribed Live. You can put in an unlimited number of terms and they will send you a real-time alert when your term is mentioned in any meeting, whether it's on the floor or in committee. So there's a committee meeting about one topic and suddenly it heads off in a different direction and it's now about a topic that you're interested in. You're going to get an alert with a 60-second sound bite and a link to the actual video of that 60 seconds when that term was used. It's an exciting feature where they're offering it exclusively they're offering it in Kansas exclusively through CanFocus. So we're excited to be part of it. I would add, and I think this is probably where you were headed, Mr. Chairman, that it is part of our RFP. It is not part of our current service.
Correct.
So in order to have that for 2025, it would require some action.
Right.
So
It
did I
Yeah,
adequately explain?
Yeah, and we're probably not going to have it during the 2025
Okay.
because we're not going to take action on this until probably April.
Okay.
So, let me, because I don't leave yet, Kevin. I watched so many of them, so I can't remember which one had what, but
They were all us.
was the gentleman that presented the Scribe Live, was it him that said that they will, they have a human looking at that before they turn it loose?
Yeah, it is not, I'm trying to remember the term that they use, the phrase they use. I think it's that it is AI-powered, human-driven.
That's correct.
He likens it to a car that uses gas to power it, but a human being steers it. So his point being that it is not turned over entirely to artificial intelligence. It is a simple transcription, which is a fairly simple technology and has nothing really to do with AI. AI is used to do things like correct misspellings. It will learn the spellings of names and boards and acronyms and things like that. But yeah, then a human intervenes to make sure it's starting and stopping at the right point and so forth.
I thought that was the right one. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you, Kevin.
Certainly.
Is there further discussion? Anybody have any questions online?
No, Mr. Speaker, this is Representative Croft. I think you covered everything. My biggest concern was the 50 state, and then as the pro tem mentioned, the understanding of the security, not just who can get in there, but we're also, can it be used as a Trojan horse in? So I think all those things were addressed, and I appreciate that.
Right. Thank you, Representative Croft. Any further questions here in the body? Tom?
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I do have a question for you and the council. Do you want me to make any notification to the other three vendors, or shall we just let this roll on through and then we'll make notifications when the time comes?
Well, without a vote narrowing it down, I don't think we need to do that right now. But I do, we certainly will want to communicate in writing to at least the things that we want further information on. And then we will take it up at the next LCC meeting. Anything further? Representative Miller.
Well, I would just caution you to notify all respondents of whatever action we're going to be taking. Set yourself up for a legal problem if you cut some out that have already responded, regardless of whether you liked them or not. I think if we're going
So
to,
even though we haven't made a decision on which one yet?
I think that's what we need to notify all 5, is we have not, and that our plan is to do such.
Okay. So we will do that. We'll notify all 5 that we have not made a decision yet. Thank you, Representative Miller. Senator Sykes.
Thank you. Tom, this is for you. On the RFP, did we have specific dates in which we were supposed to respond?
We had tentative dates past the RFP going out, and then potential demonstrations and potential final decisions, tentative dates.
Anything further? If not, this session of the LCC is adjourned.